to the bank. But me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to the Command Post Game Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Of course, I'm your commander-in-chief, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me. The good guys prevailed 20-17. It was not pretty, but it was gritty, and most importantly, it was a dubski. Look, they're bad, we're bad, okay? And as I mentioned before, bad teams find ways to lose football games. They had a bad penalty that should have cost them the game right then and there, the offsides on a 4th and 3 that gave us a first down, and we couldn't convert. You know, I would love to see the team put the game away there in that particular instance, and they weren't able to do that. That's really disappointing, to be honest with you. But the defense played really well in this game. You know, aside from the 64-yard run they gave up to Ramondre Stevenson, you hate to give up that touchdown. Really, you know, the two big plays they gave up, and the offense really was responsible for the turn in momentum in this game. Without that Brian Robinson fumble, I don't know if this is a close ball game. That short field set up the first touchdown, and then they got the big 64-yard run, and, you know, that's all on Jamin Davis. I would love Percival Butler to take a better angle there and make that tackle. That should not, just because Jamin Davis didn't fill that gap and he was picked up by that lineman, that doesn't give you a right to then blow that situation and make it even worse. Make that tackle as the safety. You're supposed to be the last line of defense there. That shouldn't turn into a 64-yard touchdown run, the longest of Ramondre Stevenson's career. That said, outside of that, they really didn't do much on offense. We dominated the first half. That was probably the most disappointing part about this game, is we thoroughly dominated the first half of this game. So much so that it felt like we should have been up three scores or more, right? Dominated time of possession, dominated yards, moved the ball up and down the field, it felt like. But, you know, Sam can't have that mistake at the end of the first half, right? You can't, like, that was reminiscent of the Dallas interception he had in his first game last year as a starter, where he threw it into, like, triple coverage, and you're asking yourself, I said this multiple times this season already. The one thing we haven't said about Sam, for the most part, when he throws a pick or, you know, something goes awry, is what was he thinking? What was he seeing? Like, what was he doing? Like, we haven't questioned his decision-making as much as, hey, you got to be more accurate. You know, you got to be more on time, whatever the case may be. Or maybe he was just being a gunslinger. Yeah, you probably can't fit that in there. You know, he tried, like, against Buffalo. But this particular one, it was like the Dallas one where you go, bro, you can't do that. Yeah, Hurts ain't going to be able to run on this defense. And he gave him all of that stretch. That might be brotherly shove territory. I didn't think he should have got all of that. He already limping. He ain't going to make it. They're going to have to protect him. That knee down. Nah, hell no. Send that shit back. Hell no. Hell no. If I'm Dallas, I'm challenging that shit, because now they're going to try to go for that brotherly shove. Hell no. That knee was down. I'm challenging that. I didn't think he had it the first time. Mike McCarthy, you going to let this slide? Really, bro? Really? You gonna really let this slide, bro? Seriously? And he giving you more time. They're going for this shit. You know they are. McCarthy, you stinking bastard, boy. I tell you, it's some stinking ass coaches in this division, boy. Anyway, I digress. You can't make that mistake if you're Sam. Like, that was the first time this season that I've said, I don't really know what the hell you were seeing. I don't know what you were doing. I don't know what you were trying to accomplish. There was nowhere to go with that football. What are you doing? You can't do that. That's points. In a game that ultimately came down to a field goal, another field goal by Washington makes it a 6-point game and forces New England to need a touchdown late instead of them needing a field goal to tie the game. Like, you cannot do that. And as much as well as he played in this game, that you can't have that mistake. That's a no-no. And, you know, I'm hoping he learned. And you saw what happened the next time we got down there. He threw it away twice when there was nothing there. And that's what you're supposed to do in those situations. You got 3 points on the board. And some of you are going to complain, oh, they should have called a timeout. They could have run the football. They had all 3 timeouts, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you about that. There was nothing wrong with the decision to not call a timeout, to not run the football. Sam can't do that, period. End of discussion. He can't throw that football into like quadruple coverage to a receiver that is absolutely blanketed. I don't even know what he saw there and why he thought that that was a good idea. But nonetheless, we prevail. Big play by the defense late in the game. Quan Martin, first of all, shout out to the Wily vet, Kendall Fuller, who continues to make plays for this football team. He is the one that deflects the football. And then Quan Martin, Johnny on the spot. That's a hell of a pick because he's actually coming up, to try and help assist Kendall Fuller. And then the ball caroms and he reaches out. And this is why we drafted guys like him and Emmanuel Forbes. We'll talk about Forbes, who had a strong day today. He did drop a pick, though. I'm not happy about that. This is why we drafted you. Same thing with Quan Martin. This is why we drafted you. That's a big play for Quan Martin. This is exactly why we drafted you, to make those types of plays. Good conversion. To make those types of plays when we need it the most. We talked about turnovers and forcing them and having that be the key. And that was a big one there. We turned it over twice, and that's part of the reason why we didn't win this game going away. Like, again, when you're a bad football team and you're playing another bad football team, the way that you lose a game against a team that you should beat, we're better than the Patriots. Nobody can watch this game and walk away thinking that we're not better than the New England Patriots. Because we are. We're better than the New England Patriots, and we let a bad team hang around because of what? Turnovers, mistakes, which is what bad football teams do. We still haven't learned. We still haven't, I'm excited that we won, but I'm not pleased at how we won this football game because we should have dominated. We dominated. We had over 400 yards of total offense. Again, Sam went over 300 yards passing. Again, we moved the football with regularity. Again, and we only had 20 points to show for it. And I talked about this leading up to the game. The Patriots are one of the worst scoring teams in football. The Patriots are one of the worst turnover teams in football. They haven't created turnovers this season. They were second to worst in the league, only created 7 coming into the game. We gave them 2, right? This is a team that's averaging, 14 points a game. We gave them 17. And 17 isn't a ton. And I've said this a number of times. You give up 17 points, you're supposed to win 9 times out of 10. You're not going to win every single game giving up 17. You're supposed to win every game when you give up 14. You can lose a game, 14, 15, 17 to 15, right? You can lose a game 14, right? But you score 17, you're supposed to lose the game, right? But you can win. We should know. We've scored 17 and won 17-15. Fumble! And had opportunities, in other games that we only scored 17 points in. However, this game should not have even been close. And I'm so glad they started Emmanuel Forbes today. They essentially, no Danny Johnson. I don't think I saw Danny Johnson on the field. And this is no disrespect to Danny Johnson, but this was an Emmanuel Forbes get-right game. If you're looking to build confidence, this would have been my plan all along. I would not have put him out there last week against Philadelphia, okay? I would not have put him out there at all, right? I would have put him out there just like they did today. And next week, you got to be careful because he can lose his confidence just like that against Geno Smith and that Seahawks group of receivers. He could lose that confidence just like that with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. It could go away just as fast as it came back. But this was the kind of game that you were looking for from the young fella, right? He needs to catch that pick. That's an interception, and we were pissed off. That's the worst roughing the passer call I've ever seen in my life. We've seen some bad ones. When fans talk about, oh, the fix is in, they don't want us to win, that's the kind of shit they're talking about. I don't buy into that. I don't subscribe to the league wanting us to lose or the referees, doing this or that or the third. You got to stop him sooner so they can't goddamn do the brotherly shove. All right, field goal. So I don't personally feel like there's this agenda against Washington, but when they call shit like that, it's hard to dissuade those who believe there is a fix in against Washington. That's as bad, but we see these bad calls with roughing the passer around the league all the time. So it's not like we are being singled out here, but that was as bad as it gets. They took a sack, forced fumble from a rookie player playing in his first NFL action. They took that from him. That's not right. And he couldn't have done anything differently there. He didn't lead with the helmet. Damn, that's a good ass play. He didn't lead with the helmet. He didn't put his body weight on him. None of that bullshit that they like to try to. And the NFL is going to tell us on Tuesday, oh, we made a mistake. I don't want to hear that shit. You almost cost us a ball game behind that bullshit. But this is the thing. We had a chance. The football gods said, hey, they effed up. And they made it right at the end, right? The football gods always balance the scale when shit like that happens, right? So they gave us an opportunity to balance the scales. And Emmanuel Forbes said, nah, I'm good. But I'm glad he did because we got it back later in the game with Quan Martin to end the game to preserve the victory. So I would have rather had it when we got it than when the football gods initially offered it up, right? So I thought it was an excellent game from Emmanuel Forbes. He had at least 3 PBUs in this game, step for step with receivers. There was no receiver threat out there with no Kendrick Bourne. There wasn't a single guy we should have been afraid of offensively, and we weren't. And we showed it. There was 0 pass rush. I hope you guys are prepared. I hope you have a very strong stomach because unless Jack, and we saw Jack ain't got shit in the way of blitz game, right? Nothing. The blitz game was as weak as it's ever been today. We couldn't get pressure with 4 if we tried. The only guy that can get to the quarterback by himself, it seems like, is Daron Payne. And they're double teaming him. They're doubling him, right? So, look, we're in a world of trouble, okay? We are not going to get to the quarterback. That is a fact moving forward. And good NFL offenses are going to pick this defense apart. I expect 30-plus points to be scored next week by the Seahawks offensively because Mac Jones missed some opportunities in this game, right? The 4th down on the first possession, that's a wide open receiver. He misses him, right? You've got the deep ball dropped by Jalen Reagor, the gift that keeps on giving, right? Jalen Reagor still stinking it up, even though he's not with Philadelphia anymore, still continuing to bless us in a different uniform. That should have been a big play. It wasn't, right? There are opportunities in this game that they just flat out missed, that Geno Smith, that DK Metcalf, that Tyler Lockett, that Jackson Smith and Jigba probably won't miss next week. And moving forward, Dak Prescott probably won't miss. And so I'm not confident that this defense is going to play well. I'm not going to be fooled into thinking that the defense is better, right? Because they did the same shit against Atlanta. It was a little bit different in an Atlanta game because Atlanta moved the ball up and down the field, and then we just created turnovers, right? This game, we actually got stops. We got stops, but it wasn't because not all of them, but some of them weren't because of things we did well. It was because the Patriots are just the Patriots. They're a 2-7 ball club now for a reason. But all in all, I thought EB did a really solid job. And a lot of people are killing him for that 3rd down call at the end of the game that allowed the Patriots. That was Sam deciding to take a shot. Jahan was open on the dig over the middle of the football field. Like Sam decided he wanted to go for the jugular vein when he didn't need to. That's on Sam. You know, in that situation, Sam's got to understand if that's the 2nd quarter, sure, knock yourself. 3rd quarter, sure, knock yourself out. Hell, if that's with 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, I don't mind you taking that shot. That particular play with the game on the line, I want the safe throw. I want the 1st down. The game's over. They had used all their timeouts, 2-minute warning, you take 3 knees, we're out of there with a dub. The defense doesn't have to see the field. Jahan's open on the dig route. You take the dig, and we go home happy. He'll learn. Again, the more he plays, the better he's going to get in those situations, the better decision-making, the better he processes things, and the smarter he gets with certain decisions situationally. Again, situational football, something he struggled with a little bit today, right, for Sam? The interception in the red zone before the half. But we're not even in that position if not for a Herculean effort on 3rd and 24, our longest 3rd down conversion since 2013. He had a 5 run on 3rd and 24. I mean, unbelievable, right? So we're not even in that position without him. I thought Byron Pringle had a good game. I thought Terry had a really good game. I thought Jahan had a really good game. You know, continuing to spread the football around. I still want to see some other wrinkles in the run game. I don't think we saw a jet sweep or anything. You know, we did see some cute screens There was one on the third down they threw to Antonio Gibson that converted. I didn't necessarily love the decision when we were having success running the football from under center, but that's nor here nor there. Results is all that I care about, and they got it done. Doesn't it seem like I'm nitpicking here, and this has nothing to do with nothing, but I just was thinking this watching this, and I've been thinking this all along. I'm just going to finally say it. Doesn't it look like Antonio Gibson runs extremely hard? Like everything he does is really hard. Like to run fast, he's like trying to take chunks of turf out of the ground. Like he doesn't run on his toes. His entire foot touches the ground, it seems like, when he runs. It doesn't seem fluid. You know, it seems like he's carrying 250 pounds trying to rev up the engine, right? He runs like he used to be fat, and now he's skinny and he's gotten faster, but he's still running like he's fat, if that makes any sense. I never feel like he's getting up to top speed, you know, but that's nor here nor there. Oh, big return. Get outside. Anyway, I tell you what, I thought it was a good game plan from EB. I was pleased with the under center runs. I would like to see some play action maybe off of that under center. But all in all, the offensive line was pretty solid again. I think Sam was sacked twice in this game. One on a blitz where I thought, you know, a lot of people might be coming down on Sam. You got to get rid of the ball. I don't even put that one on Sam. The backside, there's no excuse for a guy to come free on the backside, right? Sam vacates. He makes the unblocked defender miss. You know, I need that backside pressure to not be there. So he took a bad sack, though, but he got it back. That was on the 3rd and 24. He got us back in the field goal range and then ultimately got us the first down. And then he slid down on a play where there was nothing that he liked. He ran and he slid, and it was 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, and that counts as a sack. So, or his slide started 1 yard. He actually slid to the line of scrimmage, but they called it a sack. Said he started his slide 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. So, whatever the case may be, the line was pretty damn solid today again, and I expected them to be honest with you. This Patriots, I talked about this. They don't have any pass rushers. There's no Matthew Judon. There shouldn't be any real pressure. Take off that. Take off that. Why you can't be soft in this game, Daiquiri? If you're not gonna run for the first down, then you need to throw it. So yeah, man. I thought that all in all, this was an impressive performance, but except for where it matters most, on the scoreboard, and that's the shit that bothers me. We're still playing down to the level of competition. And I know that sounds weird, and I probably shouldn't even be saying things like that out of my mouth, because who are we to be talking about playing down to the level of competition? But if you watch the game, we dominated them. They aren't on our level. They're not a good football team. They're not. That's why they're 2-7. We should have beaten them by more than 3 points. And that's the problem with this team right now, is that they just don't know how to get out of their own way. The Brian Robinson fumble up 10-0 changed everything. Without it, I don't think this is a close ball game. I'm not even sure New England scores today, to be honest with you. Maybe a field goal. Seriously, I'm not bullshitting you. That turnover changed everything. And we were on the move again, it felt like. I know we were still deep in our own territory, but I think we had already picked up a first down. That Robinson run would have been a first down. And so it felt like we had already scored on the previous 2 possessions. It kind of felt like we were just going to go down and do it again. And then he fumbles, and then all hell breaks loose. So we got to find a way to get out of our own way. You won't beat Seattle turning it over twice and only getting 1 back in return next week. And you won't beat Seattle with no pass rush, leaving Geno Smith back there with ample amounts of time to find open receivers and opportunities with guys one-on-one down the field. You're not gonna survive doing that next week. I hope everybody's aware of that. Okay, but you got it done. That's the most important thing, is find a way to win in this league. That is what matters most, is that you find a way to get it done. Okay, the difference in this league, margin of error wise, is small. Okay, the difference between you winning and losing is making a play here, making a play there. And Kendall Fuller making that play and Quan Martin not dropping the football is the difference between us winning and that game going to overtime and us potentially losing. You got to make those plays, which is why I'm not happy with Emmanuel Forbes dropping that pick, because that led to a field goal attempt for the Patriots. They should not have gotten any points. Shouldn't have gotten any points because that wasn't roughing the passer. But even still then, the football gods gave us an opportunity and you dropped the pick. They should have been erased. No points. But I thought it was a solid performance. All facets of the game, special teams, defense, offense, everybody chipped in, did their part. Again, find a way to win 20-17. You look around the NFC and everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. I was rooting like hell for Tampa Bay. I picked them. They let CJ Stroud go off for 470 and 5 tubs. But if we're trying to make the playoffs, we need good Dak. We need Atlanta to lose. If we're trying to make the playoffs, I'm over here rooting like hell for Atlanta to beat Minnesota because I picked them. But we need the Falcons to lose, right? Because the Vikings aren't going anywhere, okay? Like, what they did today was cute, but they got Josh Dobbs and they got my guy Jaron Hall from BYU, and he got knocked out of the game today. But they're not going anywhere with that group, right? Even when Justin Jefferson returns, they're not going anywhere with Josh Dobbs. So I was cool with the Vikings winning because the Falcons are more of a threat, in terms of the wild card, if you ask me, with Heineke at quarterback than the Vikings are. But everything fell into place. You're right there where you need to be. You're hovering around 500, just like the rest of these teams vying for a playoff spot. And, everything you want is in front of you still if you're trying to make the postseason, but you're going to have to play better than you did today. But the thing that remains a constant for me, y'all know what it is. Y'all know how I get down. Y'all know why I'm outside, and nothing's changed. Dak's got all day to throw. He just ain't finding nowhere to go. Hey, way to fight.
New Howell order.
Let me get it one time for the one time.
New Howell order.
Sam was really good again today. I mean, Sam, once again, it continues to prove that he's a franchise quarterback. I've never had any doubts. Some of you never had any doubts. Some of you still need convincing, and that's fine. He'll continue to put up games like this. There were some throws where and I'd like our guys to, Diami drops the touchdown, right through his hands. You can't complain about, wanting the ball, lack of opportunities, and then you get a ball and it goes right through your hands for a touchdown, right? Like, that's the shit that I can't get with. So now it's going to be 4th and 1. I didn't like the play call by Dallas. Run the damn football. McCarthy with a garbage, no challenge on the defensive side. And now you get in the gun, boy. The NFL has changed so much. It's 4th and 1 and Dallas is in the shotgun. But go figure. That's the NFL for us. That's the NFL world we live in. Got him. Make a miss, CD. Okay. Dallas going to beat these chumps. Anyway,
New Howell order.
Let's get to the comment section. I think I've said everything that I need to say as far as this game is concerned. Thought the running backs, let me check the running back stats real quick. I felt like we ran the ball effectively, especially Antonio Gibson. Robinson had some good hits, including the touchdown run. But sucks that we didn't convert in the red zone that one possession. I think we were 1 of 3 in the red zone. Like, that's not who we've been this season. We had to settle for the field goal. He threw the pick. Like, that's loser football. Touchdown. That's loser football. This is going to be a hell of a game. Look, that's loser football, right? And luckily we were playing a loser football team, and so we were able to get away with the foolishness we did today. But, moving forward, you can't beat Seattle doing that. You can't beat – we can beat the Giants doing that shit. But with our luck, we won't, right? You can't beat Dallas like that on Thanksgiving doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't beat San Francisco, the Dolphins, none of those teams. Like, you can't do those things and expect to beat good quality football teams. We got to step our shit up, Let's see. Brian Robinson, 18 for 63. That's not bad, right? Gibson, 6 for 34. It felt like he had a good day running the football, and he did. Sam 5 for 27. Obviously, he had the 24-yarder, which really bolstered his average. So when you look at the average on the day, looks pretty good, but Sam really helped out in that department. Terry ends up being your leading receiver, 5 for 73. Jahan 4 for 69. Byron Pringle, who had a really big day, stepped up in the absence of Curtis Samuel. He had 3 catches for 55 yards. Gibson, I thought they got him involved early with the screen game. I'd like to see more of that. I actually thought that was one of the things they did really well in this game, was getting Antonio Gibson the football in space, which is something we've been told that was going to happen more this season that hasn't. I thought that they did a good job of getting him involved. And Diami saw some touches and some throws go his way. I need Diami and these receivers, Jahan included, to sell passing. Guys, they're holding your arm. I need you to put on a damn theatrical play when somebody is holding you that way. You should be nominated for an Academy Award, okay? An Oscar. They're holding you that way. You need to make sure the official sees it. Our guys are too casual, sticking one hand out like we nice like that. We don't catch one-handed balls around here. Pause. Anyway, let's get to the comment section. See what you guys have to say. All right. Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, let's give our rookie secondary some love. Look, thrusted into action. They had no choice but to play these guys. They would not have played them, so I want to give them credit. They didn't have a choice. With Forbes, they did. They didn't have to put him out there, but they knew this was the week. Right? Anybody with a brain, half a brain, knew that this was the opportunity for him to get right, to gain confidence. And maybe that confidence bubbles and swells over the next week and he plays well against. I really don't want to see him matched up with DK Metcalf at all, period. With DK's size and physicality, it'll look just like A.J. Brown all over again. I really don't want to see that matchup. Him and Tyler Lockett, that's fine. Lockett might be a little quick for him, but I'd rather take my chances with that than him getting bullied like he did against A.J. Brown. But that said, he had a fantastic game. Sands for the drop. Quan Martin, huge play. He drew the flag. You want to see an acting job, but he actually did get held. But you want to see an acting job and how you're supposed to sell it to the officials? Look at Quan Martin on that holding penalty in the fourth quarter on the second to last possession, where he throws his arms in the air. He got held. Make sure they see it. Our guys want to get held and they want to, try to one-hand it. They don't even look like they got interfered with. They don't get up. They don't say anything to the officials. They don't do anything drastic to draw attention to the fact that the guy's holding their other arm. Just let them get away with it. Put their one arm out there, don't catch it, and then get up like it was good coverage. Big play by Quan Martin, man. I'm so proud of him. The vitriol some of you guys had for him in the preseason was disgusting. It was absolutely absurdity. And I'm so glad that he continued to play. And I talk about this all the time. You get to this level, there's got to be some level of athletic arrogance, a level of confidence that I don't give a damn what anybody's saying. I know I can play. That's how I got here. And Quan never lost that. And he's been playing well when thrusted into action. I thought he played well against Atlanta. He had limited snaps against the Giants, but he did have that pass broken up on the first possession against the Giants. I thought when he's been pressed into action and given opportunities, he's played well. And that's as big of a play as you can make in a ball game, right? Game on the line. They're damn near in field goal range already. That pick saves the day, seals the deal, sends us home happy and victorious. So shout out to the rookie secondary for sure. Get Hurts' ass. That's right. Hell yeah. He can't run. I'm telling you. They got a shot today if they can do what they just did. He can't run. Should have never scored on that first possession. Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, a win is a win. Patented winning streak coming. I don't know about that. I wish I could co-sign that. Ron, his best football usually comes in November. We're off to a great start, but I would not co-sign that right now. Not with a trip to Seattle, with how poorly they played against the Ravens today. They're pissed off. They have not played well. I will say this. The Seahawks have not been a good offensive team. See, Hurts can't turn that corner, and he knows that. He's going to throw it away. Yeah, he can't run. Like, they're in trouble. If Dallas continues to cover down the field and they get a little bit of pressure and he can't run. So I expect them to be able to get pressure on Hurts and force the issue, because that's what Dallas's defense has been. And unlike other defenses that they play where only the guys on the edge are fast, all four of the guys that are rushing for Dallas can run. And Hurts won't be able to turn the corner because he's not himself right now. I wish I could co-sign Seattle, next week, but I can't. I can't. Nothing I saw today, especially the lack of pass rush, that shit scares me. The run defense wasn't bad. Let me look at their, they had the big 64-yarder, but, and I don't want to do the Greg Minuski thing and say, hey, if you take away the 64-yarder, it's a get up, Turpin. Get up, Turpin. Yeah, that you went right on your shoulder. That ain't good. I don't want to do the Greg Minuski thing because that's the easy thing to do and say, hey, you take away the 64-yard run, they only rush for. But 9 for 87 is what it is. The 64-yarder does exist. I'm going to do the Greg Minuski thing now. 8 for 23 without it, which is less than 3 yards a pop. So with the deep rush defense, Zeke only at 6 for 17. He less than 3 yards a pop. Like, I honestly don't feel like we were too bad stopping the run today. But this isn't Seattle's rushing game and their offensive line and their running backs. So anyway, I digress. Anthony Shannon, Quan, Butler, and Forbes. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Quan, Butler, and Forbes, all the young boys, made some sort of play at some point during the game. Quan with the big pick, Butler with a nice deflection on a 4th down, on that last possession. And then Forbes, obviously, just an all-around really, really solid game for the rookie first-round pick. His best game as a pro to date. Should have had his second career interception, but Dak looks whoop, whoop, whoop. Yep. Everybody looked scared on that one. Dak looked nervous. CD looked nervous. Drop. Keith, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. So glad to have you on board. My guy, Keith, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Mob, y'all know what to do. Show Keith some love. Welcome to the squad, my guy, Keith. Benjamin Slade says, also, do we have the most drops in the NFL? Feels like it. I can't co-sign that. We've had some drops. I don't know if we've had the most drops. We've had a lot of them, though. I can definitely say that. We've had a lot of them. But I don't know if we had the most. The one and only Bravo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, to think that all we had to do was beat New York and Chicago and we beat 6-3. It really frustrates me, Lou. Good win today, but Sam can't make those mistakes. Hashtag NHO. Facts. That's the thing. And that's how I felt last week. Forget about after winning this game and looking up and seeing that we're 4-5. I thought about that last week when we lost to Philadelphia. Like, you had no business being 3-5 after last week's game. You should have been 5-3. Like the thing that I talked about at the beginning of the season was finding a way to win the first two. Arizona and then on the road at Denver, which was going to be tough. And we found a way to do that because it put you in a position that even if you lost the next two, we knew they were going to be tough. Buffalo and Philadelphia. It put you at 2-2. And then there's a 3-game stretch there that was supposed to allow you to bounce back, right? Chicago, New York, or Chicago, Atlanta, New York, right? That was supposed to allow you to bounce back, get 3 in a row, and get you to 5-2. And then if you fall to Philly again, which we had an opportunity to beat them both times, you're 5-3, and then you win this game and you're 6-3. But instead, because we're not a good football team and we make mistakes and we don't take advantage of the teams that we're supposed to, and we play down to the level of competition because, again, we're not good enough to excel, right, and rise above that foolishness and put teams away, you're sitting here at 4-5. And that is frustrating. And no, Sam can't make those decisions and types of plays in the red zone where you are assured an opportunity at points. You can't be assured that you're going to make them, right? We've had kicks blocked this season. Stupid shit has happened. But you at least have an opportunity, and you can't take that opportunity away. And that's a first down interception he threw. That wasn't third down. That was first down. You cannot do that, period. And hopefully he learns from that today. Benjamin Bellamy, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB mob. Y'all know what to do. Show Benjamin some love. Look forward to chopping it up with you. Benjamin Bellamy, welcome to the squad. Glad to have you. Zoe Life, No Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Zoe Life, No Life writes, draft the 3rd round receiver. Diami ain't it. Too many chances. Hashtag NHO. Well, whether he is it or not, they should be looking for receiver help anyway, right? Curtis Samuel's a free agent. Diami will be going into his last year of his rookie deal next year. Jamison Crowder is 3 years, but 33,000 years old. He's what, 30, right? Like, you got to be looking for, Pringle is on a 1-year deal. You got to be looking for a receiver. You should be. I would expect them to draft a receiver next year at some point. Anyway, but that doesn't mean you have to move on from Diami. He can still be here. Okay. Flag on who is the question. Jake Ferguson. That's a nice play by Daiquiri. Is it coming back? Holding. Defense. Okay. Keep it pushing. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, LOL, anyone else see Heineke had his daily interception? I brought that up during the game, with the MOBB. I said, Heineke in again. This is the guy that, some of the fans in the fan base want it back and think is better than Sam Howell. Yeah, right. Even with that said, Heineke didn't play poorly today, but that's what he does. Like, he entices you, gives you a shot, but, he's capable of losing you the game. Sack. Yeah, I saw it. Keith, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Welcome to the mob. As I mentioned earlier, had to get my mob squad branded on me. LOL. So good to have you on board, man. He says, get blessings by being a blessings guy. I love that. Good win. Could have scored 30, but a win is a win. Keep going, Lou. I think you kind of summed up the way I feel wholeheartedly right there. Like, could have scored 30, should have scored 30, should have won this going away. We should have had this thing wrapped up midway through the 3rd quarter. This should have been another ass whooping at home in which Bill Belichick is thinking about potentially benching Mac Jones. Instead, we allowed this thing to be a lot closer than it needed to be. And, this had the makings of a 30-10, a 30-6 type of beatdown. But we just don't administer those. I mean, under Ron Rivera, when's the last time we've had one of those? Comfortable wins where we're not in the 4th quarter sweating, looking for some kind of big defensive play to preserve the victory or some kind of offensive play to take us down the field. When's the last time we won a game comfortably? I can't tell you. I mean, I always go back to the 2020 season in the Dallas Thanksgiving game. Like, like 2021, everything was close. 2022, everything was close. Like, I can't think of a game where we beat up on somebody and dominated them. Maybe I'm missing one from 2022. I don't really feel like there was one, any of those for that matter. Thinking about it, Jacksonville wasn't. Chicago clearly wasn't. Indianapolis wasn't. Green Bay wasn't. Philadelphia wasn't. Houston, I guess Houston. Yeah, Houston's the one. And even that felt like we didn't do enough. But Houston's the one. That's the one right there. Houston's the one. That's it. Still ridiculous that we had to go through all that just to think about a game where we won and did it comfortably. Houston last year. Brent Jenkins, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, why do we constantly throw for 20 yards when you need 6? End of game, you need first down. Yeah, I didn't love the route combinations on that. Like, Sam didn't have to throw the go ball. That wasn't a requirement. How about some slants there? Right? You just need 6 yards. How about the shallow crossers that Terry got open on the previous 3rd down that, or 2 3rd downs before that kept the drive alive, right? Like, let's not complicate things here. Sat. Oh, Daiquiri got away and made a play. Wow. I didn't understand why we were going for the gusto there. And Even the Jahan dig was a deep route. That shit was still like 15 yards down the field. We needed 6 yards. You know, like I don't really understand the thought process there, but whatever. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Metaphor writes, should have had 34 minimum. Keep bad teams in it. Dub though. Facts. And that's ultimately, I think the message that I'm trying to convey is that game didn't have to be that close. It didn't have to be. But it was. Because we turned it over twice. Because we didn't take advantage of opportunities. Because we had all the momentum and we gave it to them with a turnover. Because we were trying to wrestle the momentum back before half and we gave it to them. Right? Because we got into the red zone and we had to settle for a field goal instead of, scoring a touchdown. Like, these are the things. When you are trying to win games and beat teams that you're supposed to beat, you have to score touchdowns. We've done a good job of that this season. And just like the Giants game, this was a bit disappointing. I think if my memory serves me correct, we were 1 of 3 in the red zone. I'm going to look it up real quick. But I feel pretty confident that we were 1 of 3 in the red zone. 1 of 4, even worse. I'm trying to think about the other possession that we had to settle for a field goal. The one in the beginning of the game. That's right. That's why it was 3-0. We were awful in the red zone, and that almost cost us the game. One of those 3 possessions that were left empty, one was left empty, the other 2 resulted in field goals. If any of them were touchdowns, we're not having this conversation, right? We're not having this conversation. It's a different game. D92, thank you for the super. Thank you for becoming a member of the MOBB. So glad to have you on board. Y'all know what to do. Show D92 some love. Welcome to the squad, D92. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, if B-Rob don't fumble, not gonna lie, we put up 30 plus easily. I don't know about easily. I think 30 is definitely within reach. And I've said this a million times, and I'm not looking to cut the defense a break. That's a tough position to be put in. They didn't have to give up a touchdown. He didn't fumble at the 3-yard line and gave up a gift. There was still plenty of green grass to defend. They didn't need to score a touchdown there. They didn't have to. The defense didn't have to give up a 64-yard touchdown, right? So as much as I want to cut, the defensive break and, get on B-Rob about that fumble, the defense still didn't have to give it up after that. But kudos to them for making enough plays to win this football game. Now, that's got to be a flag. Okay, there it is. Dylan Hinton, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dylan writes, sup, Lou? Sup, Dylan? Ever since my Thursday night football experience, I decided not to put my money back into this team until Ron and JD are gone. Even these wins don't feel great. They do to me. When I sit and I invest 3 hours, I damn sure want to win as a payoff at the end. Those guys are gone. There's no doubt in my mind that those guys are fired. So I don't get upset about wins thinking, oh my God, this might sway Harris and his group, at the end of the season. No, these guys are fired. I don't think there's anything that's going to change their mind. The Bears game, the home game against the Eagles last week, seeing how many Eagles fans were there, I think that speaks volumes at this point. The Bears lost at home. The Giants lost on the road. I think they've already made their decision already, right? But if I invest 3 hours, you damn right I want to win at the end. This feels real good. Anytime you get a win in this league, it's not easy to win in this league. And we can sit here and talk shit about New England and all the bad teams in the league, but it's hard to win, right? We won today, and I'm happy about it. So I totally understand your frustration, though. When you spend that kind of bread to go to a game and you get that kind of a result, that sucks. Jay Hunter Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jay Hunter Lee writes, what took you so long, Lou? You had to change out of your all black because you thought we were going to lose? Just kidding. Good to see you, bro. Nah, Jay Hunter, man. I was watching that Texans and damn Falcons or Bucks game, man. That and the Vikings and the Falcons, but really the Texans, that was the one I needed. And I should have won. Baker Mayfield did what he needed to do, and the defense. And, I always talk about this with defensive coordinators, and I'll never understand. This is why I love Steve Spagnuolo and what he did earlier against the Dolphins, because so often we see touchdown. Good ass catch, Turpin. That's a good play. Dak still look a little skittish back there, but he finding ways to get it done. This Eagles defense stinks, so I'm not shocked. But Dak is making some plays with his legs for sure. I never will understand why a defensive coordinator who is usually aggressive will use the end of the game to be conservative, not trying to give some shit up. Like, if that's who you are, be who you are. If they get you being who you are. I can't sleep at night knowing that I changed up who I am because of the circumstances that lied in front of me. If I'm going to lose doing the thing that I do best, which is sending the pressure, and letting CJ Stroud, if he's going to eat it up, eat it up. But he was eating them up no matter what they did, so I'm going to go down guns a-blazing. They gave up the damn touchdown like some chumps. KP Flex, been a member for 21 months, who writes, like I always said, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a great door, win, let's keep it going. I wish that were, something that I saw coming, but, I've always said this about these streaks. You usually don't see them coming. I don't see us winning next week. Just going to be honest with you. As much as I would love to talk about building off of it. Seattle hasn't been playing great football of late, but they're better than, the Falcons and the Patriots, the two teams that we've beaten last, right? Like who are we kidding here? They're going to be able to move the football in this defense. And now without Sweat and Chase Young, there's zero pass rush. I mean, it was horrible to watch today. I mean, literally, it was bad. It was really bad. The pass rush was non-existent. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, we take away turnovers and a Jamin Davis bad run fit, and this is a blowout. Also, refs robbed Henry of his first career sack on the Seattle. Hashtag NHO, hashtag HTTC. All of those things may be true. Again, you take away the turnovers and you can't. That's what, at the time, 3 and 5 football teams do. That's why you're 3 and 5, right? You can't get out of your own way. But, you take those away, who knows what happens? We're up 10-0. We got them on a punt there. Puts the Patriots behind the 8 ball just because they hadn't driven the entire field in the game at that point. And if we're being honest, they really never did drive the length of the field. The 64-yard touchdown counts, but that didn't require. I told you, make Mac Jones throw it repeatedly because at some point he's going to make a mistake. That's what you're banking on. And he tried. Forbes dropped one, and he threw one at the end. Like at some point, he's going to reveal who he is. So you just got to keep making him do it over and over again. And we gave up a 64-yard run. And you can't do that. Yeah, I'm so pissed off about KJ Henry being robbed like that. That's a sack force fumble, change of possession. That could have been the momentous game-changing play we needed to really blow these boys out. Super disappointed that the officials and that's as garbage a call as I've seen. And I told you, roughing the passer is one of the worst call. Like there should be a way to challenge that. But again, it's a subjective call. It would be the equivalent of making pass interference a reviewable call like they did after the play in the Superdome. That's a miss. It went in. And they got rid of it the next year because when it's a gray area type of call, it's hard. That's garbage, though. There's no way. Like New York should be able to step in and be like, that's not a personal foul. And there ain't no, body weight on the court. There ain't shit you can say to me to convince me otherwise on that play. That was just horrible. Horrible. Fountain JD, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fountain JD writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, I always go into games hoping this will be the one that we show up and show out, but it never happens. When was the last time we really blew a team out? I brought that up. We had that discussion. The Texans are the closest that we've come. to a blowout. What did that game end up being? 23-10, right? Like even that wasn't as, we were comfortable. It was 20-0 at halftime. We cruised to a 23-10 victory. It was 23-3 for most of the second half. Like we had that game, but still, we've had plenty of opportunities since then to blow teams out, and we just can't do it. So it is what it is. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rob Yu writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Rob Yu writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Rob Yu? What's more like JDR to get creative with his blitzes or the team to sign a situational pass rusher? Neither. They're not signing anybody at this point, and I don't know if there's anybody to sign at this point. And JDR can't get any more creative with his blitzes because that's just not, he doesn't have that in his database. He doesn't have that in his tool belt. In his bag of tricks, there are no tricks. So, yeah. For those of you who thought, oh, Casey Tuhill's going to tear it up, watch Casey have 2 sacks on Sunday and watch Jack get more creative with his blitzes. Nope, none of that's happening. Can't do it. Jalen, you ain't got nowhere to go today, buddy. Not today, buddy. Not today. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, sup, Lou? Missed the game because I had errands to run today, but big dub for the fellas. Gutsy game from Howell. Can't throw that interception in the end zone, though. Can't. But, again, find a way to win. I would have preferred, and you know what have really made my day? Despite not blowing them out, ending the game on offense would have been refreshing. Like I just opened up a 2-liter soda. Like, that would have been so refreshing. Instead, having the defense have to bail us out and sweating it out again like we did against Atlanta, that's nerve-wracking, and it's unnecessary. You had a chance to, and the Patriots said, no, seriously. We can't do shit with a dub. You take it. And they give us a offsides on 4th and 3, and they say, hey, put us away, please. We're begging you. Put us away. And we can't. Like, that's frustrating to me. That's really frustrating. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Good throw. Who writes, finally saw a little bit of the run game today. Yeah, I thought EB did a really good job of sticking with the run, getting under center too as well. I thought he did some really good things in the run game, man. That's what I said. EB's getting better. And I was hard on him. I was harsh. I'll admit that. And I haven't admitted that. And I think he's getting better and he's growing into the role. Situationally, I still think he can be a little bit better. That 3rd and 6 at the end of the game, I'd like to see you be more aware of the sticks there and not have so many deep routes there. But it's a nice play call. But at the end of the day, Sam still had an open receiver. I'd love to see the all 22s on that to see if that dig route was really open, or was somebody there to rob it. But he was never looking at Jahan. He had already made up his mind. If I get one-on-one outside with Diami, I'm taking it. And I don't understand why you would like to go to Diami in that situation. I know that's your boy from college, but how many plays has he made for you at this level, in tough catch situations? This ain't UNC. I don't know if he's made any for you at this point. That goes back to the preseason last year where he had a chance to catch a ball and he didn't against the Ravens. Like, he hasn't bailed you out in any situation. So, but he's not going to stop having confidence in his boy. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Fuller deserves an extension. Solid all year long. I'd bring him back. I can't speak for anybody else, but you guys know I've always had an affinity for Kendall Fuller. So I'm on board with that. Sign me up. Ricky D. Hustle, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Ricky? We finally won a game we were supposed to win. Good tag. Keep him down. Keep him down. Good tackle, Curse. A win is a win, but no real pressure from the D-line on the Seattle NHO. Yeah, that the lack of pressure is alarming. It's jarring. Like, look, we would complain about this D-line when it was Sweat and, young, and they weren't getting to the quarterback, and you'd be frustrated about it. This was different. This was next level, no pressure. Like, Mac Jones could have built a house back there for the vast majority of the day. Did we sack him at all today? My guess is no. But let me just double check. But I kind of feel like there were no sacks in this game at all whatsoever by the Commanders. Yeah, no, they didn't sack him at all. And honestly, he should have been sacked once. KJ Henry had a sack. And KJ didn't do anything special, just so we're clear. Nobody touched him on that play, okay? So let's just make sure we're on the same page. KJ didn't get crafty. He didn't beat a tackle off the snap. Nobody touched KJ. It was as if he was invisible. They let him run around the edge unabated to the quarterback. And then he got robbed of his first career sack. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, ooh, that ball was on the ground. 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 Go. Can't let Hurts catch you there. That's a big play. And that ball was definitely out. Now, will they say he recovered it before it was pulled out the second time? But that ball was definitely out. That ball is out. Now, did he recover it right there is the question. That's going to be the question. Looks like he's got it recovered right there. I think they're going to give it back to Philadelphia. He recovered that ball. Then they ripped it out of his hands. I think that's a clear recovery by Philadelphia. And they'll give it back to him. Metaphor, been a member for 26 months. D-line going to be rough going forward. KJ may show something. Again, don't get your hopes up. Okay? Don't get your hopes up for KJ or Andre Jones Jr. Okay? I'm just warning you. It could get ugly. Okay? Because Jack ain't scheming up shit. We got to hope that somehow one of these offensive linemen, get caught napping and Casey's able to get by him, or they try to bootleg and they don't go for it and they get in the face, or Duran gets one-on-one and wins. Same thing with Jonathan Allen. But they should be seeing double teams exclusively. Both of those guys on the interior. I know every time I looked at Duran today, he was getting doubled up. And that's how it should be. If I'm playing Washington now with no edge rushers in sight, I'm just doubling 94. I don't think 93 is going to beat me one-on-one. And I damn sure know 95 and 90, 96 aren't going to do shit. And when you bring in 55 and what's Andre Jones's number? 90, what? Is he 90 something? Or 50? I think he's 50. They ain't going to do shit neither. So, yeah, it's going to be rough. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be rough. I shudder to think what it's going to look like when we play teams like Miami and potentially San Francisco and Dallas, maybe even. It could get ugly, man. It could get real, real ugly quick. Robert Mitchell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, hey, Lou, I've been impressed with Howell from the beginning. I really loved how he was poised after that bad interception. He came back and carved up the Pats. Hashtag NH.
New Howell order.
The third quarter has been an absolute death sentence for this team this season. We've come out of halftime. We haven't played well. We've been outscored in the third quarter in particular this season. And it was good to see him come out, touch a field goal drive and then a touchdown drive in that third quarter. And they did give the ball back to the Eagles. I thought, even watching it initially, I thought he had recovered it. He definitely fumbled, as I mentioned, but he was down. That ball, he recovered that thing, and then they ripped it out of his hands. But that's what you're supposed to do. Make the officials go in there and figure that shit out if you're Dallas. Now you got an opportunity. Get off the damn field, okay? I think that's going to bring up a second and long or a third and long. Get off the damn field. Force them to kick a field goal. I thought he was really poised in this game. I did. Outside of the pick, I absolutely. I thought, there were some throws where, you know, he missed the John Bates throw. You know, a little bit more air. You know, like Bates is wide open there. Diami, come down with the damn football, and we're not even having that discussion, right? Opportunities to score touchdowns, but ultimately, he made that throw to Jahan is thing of beauty, right? Just gorgeous. You know, some of the one to Pringle, you know, on the sidelines, like the throw to Terry might have been his most impressive throw of the day. The one on the sidelines on the third down, that dot he threw to Terry. Are you kidding me? Yeah, right. That's a big time throw there. 2nd and goal. If you're Dallas, you got to find a way to hold them to a field goal. Eagles haven't been great in the red zone. Stop them. And now make them, you know, flag. That's probably on Dallas in the secondary. Give them a first down. They're going to get a touchdown now. If that's on Dallas in the secondary, that's going to give them a first down. They're going to score a touchdown there. Let's see what the flag is. 4. My guess is Dallas in the secondary did something. That's good. That's a good ass jam. What we calling there? Damn, that looked good to me. I thought maybe hands to the face or something. He jammed the shit out of Dallas Goedert ass. Put his ass in neutral. I didn't see a flag there. But you know the Eagles get the benefit of the whistle anyway. We know that for a fact. So I'm not shocked. Jack Taberley, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, other than the interception, did Sam have a bad throw? Not. I thought there was one to Pringle on the sidelines where he escaped the pocket, where he threw it away. Where if he just looks, Pringle's wide open, standing there, he could have got it to him. But no, I mean he missed, and he missed John Bates up the seam for the touchdown, wide open. But he was under duress on that play, you know, and just lobbed it up there. I wish he would have, you know, given him a chance to run under it. But, you know, all in all, nope. Come on, Parsons, you let him drag your ass. Now it's a touchdown because they're gonna do the brotherly shove now. You bitched up there on me, Parsons. You got a man up there, bro. Let this man take you for a ride. Damn. Get on his back. Giddy up, cowboy. Sheesh. You supposed to be a damn menace. You know what it is now. You can't stop that shit. Only we can stop that shit. You can't stop that shit. Touchdown. Rob you, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rob you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, who writes, give me a few pieces on the O-line, an athletic tight end, and Devon A-Chain change of pace back, and this offense can cook. Yeah, that sounds about right to me, you know. Yeah. Man, there was a play on a third down. He threw it, he checked it down to Logan. It was a good decision. Logan's out in space. And I'm like, Logan, pick your goddamn feet up. You know, Logan's feet be looking like he got on ankle weights. Every time he run like he got a refrigerator on his back and he got like 30-pound ankle weights on his ankles. Pick your damn feet up, and that's a first down. He's so unathletic, man. I love Logan to death, though, you know. But God, he's so unathletic. I've been screaming about that since we got him back in 2020. You know what I mean? But yeah, you get an athletic dude out there, it could really do wonders for this offense, for sure. And then one of those dynamic backs like you just spoke of, definitely could change things. One of those guys you could throw a screen to and have it go for 68 and a touchdown. Because Antonio Gibson is like, you got to give him a runway. Like, he's not one of those, he's at top speed in 2 steps type dudes. Like I told you, he's beating up the turf, right? He's stepping into that shit hard. And it take him like 6-7 steps to get to top speed. Once he does, it's problematic, but it take him a long time to rev that shit up. You know, I want one of them dudes that's instant. Like, I'm watching the Ravens. They got this Mitchell kid. We saw him in the preseason, remember? He touched it today twice. It had 2 explosive plays. And I'm just like, damn, we just need one of those dudes. And it's plenty of them in college ball. Like, he was undrafted out of ECU. Like, you can find them. They're out there. You don't even have to spend a pick on them. You just got to have the scouting department that can locate that kind of dynamic speed. Bro, I need the white, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, yo, Lou, can I get you to spam that NHO? NHO, NHO. Of course you can.
New Howell order. New Howell order. New Howell order.
He deserved it. He had a really good game today, aside from the interception. And again, cannot have that. I feel like our run, Mateen Naziri, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mateen writes, I feel like our run defense regressed slightly. Our secondary played better. Emmanuel Forbes played amazing. I'm not really too concerned about the run defense if they play like they played today, other than obviously the 64-yarder. I actually thought the run defense would be the thing that would be compromised the most without Chase and Montez because they were such good run defenders. Underrated, I feel like. But what is apparent is we still got bodies up front. We still got the Bama Wall. We still got John Ridgeway. We still, Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams are no pushover in the run game. We'll be fine there. The pass rush is alarming because it just doesn't exist right now. And the guys that can get to the quarterback are going to be double teamed. So, yeah, it's going to be rough. And, Emmanuel Forbes definitely played amazing today, as he should have. Like this was the get-right game. We all predicted it. We all thought this was a game he could come out. We talked all week long about no receivers for the Patriots. Don't allow them to get off. And they didn't for the most part. Douglas had a couple catches here and there. There was an opportunity down the field to Jalen Reagor that he didn't make. But outside of that, Juju Smith-Schuster had like 2 catches. They were big ones. One big one on a play that broke down and he was able to get up the field. But then that one on the 4th down, that's a big ass catch, right? But for the most part, he was nice and quiet throughout the course of the game. So I thought we did a really good job in the secondary. D92, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "What's up, Lou? What's up, D? Glad to finally be a member of the squad after years of tuning in. I'm glad to have you on board." He says, random, but Jamin's slowly becoming a real football player. He's got his moments, but I think he's starting to grow into what they thought he could be when they drafted him. It's just taking him so long to get to that point. And I don't think he'll ever be what they wanted him to be as a first rounder. But I think he's like, if we had drafted him in the 2nd or the 3rd round, if he was a day 2 pick, I think he'd be playing to that level right now. I still don't think he's playing at a first-round pick level, and I don't think he ever will. Thought they overdrafted him, but that's nor here nor there. And really, you probably could get more out of him if you blitzed him and you did some other things with him, but they don't really give him a chance to come after the quarterback. He's always in coverage, covering somebody's running back or tight end or somebody like that. So you're not going to see him in a role where he gets to come after the quarterback all that often. That was not a sack he needed to take. That was a bad sack by Dak Prescott. That was good protection. You got to get out of there. Jado, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "What up, Lou? It's NHO. You already know."
Order.
Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, wait, first of all, double up, thank you for doubling up, Metaphor, who writes, "We do nothing till you TD done to us." I don't know what the hell that sentence was supposed to be. Last week, Philly faked injury to allow review. Now Ron did it. Same with PI. Won't act job until someone burns us. I still don't know what that I don't know what you were trying to say there, but I do know that James Smith-Williams didn't have a cramp. Did not have a cramp. And I think they told their players, hey, if we get in a situation like that and we don't get a chance to look and you see them rushing, just fall down. And I don't think Slay did it last week because he thought Jahan dropped the ball. I think he literally was injured, right? There was nothing wrong with James Smith-Williams. I think he did that intentionally to give them a chance to see, because our coach is slow. But as you can see, our coach ain't the only one that's slow. What a conversion by Dallas. What a conversion. That's what it's going to take. You know, this ain't a game for the faint of heart. You can't be punting on 4th and 1. You got to find a way to convert. I was upset that it took him so long. Like, we shouldn't even had to fake an injury for you. Like, the entire sideline for the second week in a row is screaming incomplete, and Ron still doesn't want to throw the challenge flag, right? Like, what do we got to do over here, dude? These are huge plays. That's a massive play for the second week in a row that he wasn't going to throw the flag on. Logan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Logan writes, Pringle should play more, not drop on me. I'm outside. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Diami. I thought he played well today. He did let the one go through his hands in the end zone, and Pringle's been getting more than his fair share of snaps. He's been getting more than his fair share of targets, and he's been making the most of his opportunities. Last week, he did stumble on a deep ball that I thought he could have caught had he not stumbled. But other than that, Pringle has been really clutch this season when given opportunities, and he's doing everything that I thought he was capable of doing. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you who writes. Bro, their running back average like 9.7 yards a carry. But you know why. Like, stop. Cut it out. Brandon Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon writes, Jamin is the king of non-face mask penalties being called. He might be paying off the refs, LOL. So Jamin is in charge of not being called for face masks. I didn't know if he had grabbed his shoulder or like the inside of the helmet or the face mask. Like, I couldn't tell. He grabbed something, right? Just what was it? Like, there was no clear definitive view that it was the face mask, but it looked like it was the face mask. And he never seems to get called for that. Just like Benjamin St. Juste never seems to get called for pass interference. And you could argue that every game he gets caught in a vulnerable position twice, at least twice, and somehow he manages to live to tell about it. I still, am, struggling with how that manages to happen, but I'm not complaining. Should they owed us for taking away a sack force fumble from KJ Henry? So they owed us any damn way. Kevin the PRF. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Kevin the PRF, thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Earlies are in, #new Pringle order. I'm going to pass on that, though. I do know this. Once you pop, the fun don't stop. I do know that. Let's get a quick look at these early super chats. As always, appreciate you, Kevin the PRF. Let's see where we are. All right. Fount JD writes, Hey, Lou. Happy we won. First of all, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Happy we won, but we did everything we could to hand New England the victory. Play calling on the O and D sides of the ball, and 93 and 94 need to be on a milk carton. Again, I expect those young fellas to be double teamed as much as possible. If I were playing against them, they wouldn't see the light of day. I'd be doubling those boys every chance that I got, because that's not a fumble. Stop. I would be doubling those boys every chance that I got, because I fully expect that our tackle should be able to handle whomever's at defensive end on both sides. The Biggins, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Welcome to the squad, the Biggins. Let Sam cook. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I'll take it. Let's focus on Seattle. Not interested in outside noise or coaches. They're gone anyways. Let's develop and get these young players some snaps. I've been on board with doing that. That's why I was hoping Ricky Stromberg was healthy, because I'm all for getting guys like him on the field to figure out what we have. Because if he's not the answer, Larson clearly can get the job done. But if Stromberg, who you spent the 3rd round pick on, is capable, he needs to be in there doing that. And Larson can then be what he's supposed to be, which is your primary replacement at center on this football team. Fount JD, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fount JD writes, it's a big 3rd down for Dallas right here. You're already in field goal range, but you got, Gallup dropped the football, you stinking bastard. You might have to go for it. If I'm Dallas, I'd probably go for it. You stinking son of a rascal, boy. The refs need to start getting fined. Since when is a hard but clean sack roughing the passer? I feel like they should, we've been told that they're going to settle for the field goal. I don't love this decision, but I get it. He's been excellent all season long, but he almost missed the extra point. I don't know if that matters or not. He's been outstanding. I don't think he's missed a field goal all season long. He's only missed an extra point. So you feel good sending him out there, but yeah, he made that right down the pipe. You want to get something out of that. You don't want to get nothing, but got to catch the damn ball. You want to win this game? It's going to take you catching that football on third down. They've told us that these officials get fined and things of that nature, right? For bad calls. And, I don't know about that. I don't know if they do or don't. I would like them to be accountable. I would like them to be held accountable for their behaviors and their actions, because that's you can't do that. That can cost you a football game. That's a big play. That sack, even if we didn't recover, and I think FA came running out of that pile with the football, even if we didn't recover, they're out of field goal range, and it's fourth down. But FA came out of that thing with the rock. We should have had the football. There's no excuse for that. You can't make that call. And Adrian Hill is a terrible official anyway. Last year when we saw him against Dallas in week 4, I believe it was, we got flagged 13 times. That's not even remotely who we are. We got flagged. And I remember that. I said that's the worst officiating game I've seen us be a part of in a long time. He's terrible. And that came from him. Anthony Shannon, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, takeaways. Besides the worst interception I've ever seen, Howell is the real deal. And Jamin Davis is still hot garbage. That was a bad pick. That was one of those, and again, I said this at the top of the show. That was one of those where you go, bro, what the hell are you doing? Like, I've one of the things I've bragged about this season with Sam in particular is he hasn't had many plays, many throws, many decisions where we go, bro, what were you thinking? What were you seeing? Like, I need you to explain to me, because this shit don't make any sense. I haven't seen one of those throws since last year against Dallas in his first start, which is, explainable. Like, you understand, that was understandable. That right there, you can't do that. That I expect that out of garbage quarterbacks, not you. Right? You got to be better than that. And he's a young boy, but I need him to, like that right there, can't happen. And I'm pretty sure he'll say that in his press conference today, after the game. Like, I can't do that. He knows better. All right. Thank you for that, Kevin, the PRF, as usual. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Door Gunner writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, anyone have the number to call Jack so I can dial up some pressure? O-line looking better these last 2 weeks. Hope it keeps up because Sam is cooking. There's nothing you can do. Jack is so extra regular, man. A wise man once told me, some guys are extraordinary and other guys are just extraordinary. And Jack is extraordinary as a play caller. So I don't expect any changes. I don't expect this defense to magically get better. I expect us to give up 30 plus multiple times down the stretch. I expect this defense to get gobbled up by, pass offenses with receivers and quarterbacks who can deliver the football, because they will have ample time to throw the football. Shadow Striker 789, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Washington 10-1 in November, the last 11 games, first in the NFL. This is when Ron gets hot. We already know this. Like, that's not anything new. This is when Ron is at his best, right? He never saves his best for last. He always uses it up in November, but it keeps the season interesting, if nothing else. Gear Cell 1, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what's up from Lefty Nation? You know what it is. Left-handers in the building. Stand up. Y'all know what it is. A win is a win. Absolutely. You'll never get me to complain about a win, and you'll never get me to give it back. You know, guess Ron won't be wearing those polyester yoga pants this week. Tragic. Nah, no yogas for him. All right. As a commercial once said, never took Ron for being a yogi. I still don't. Lofton, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lofton writes, Sammy Diamond is our guy. Bad pick today, but if Diami had just brought it in easy TD, we wouldn't have seen it. Ruined the momentum. But Pringle, yeah, I don't play the game of what if. You know, it's easy to play that game, and any team in the league could play that game. I deal in reality, and the reality is Diami didn't catch that ball, and Sam can't make that decision. Period. I'm not looking to make any excuses for him. He can't do that. He can't do that. But just in case you forgot.
New Howell order.
Viscount, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, impressed with the young guys. KJ made a play. Quan caught the game ball. Forbes best game. Percy and Pringle were clutch, but Sam is the man. Sam the man. No, I'm 100% with you. So, excuse me. I would like to see Pringle go back on kickoffs, not Antonio Gibson. If we've been Pringle, I think has the biggest return we've had this season on kickoffs. I could be wrong about that. Gibson's had some good ones, but I think I'd like to see Pringle back there. I think he's a little bit more dynamic speed guy in terms of, you know, picking him up and putting him down. Sack. Oh, good job, Hurts. Get off of him. Come on now. Can't be obvious with it. They got timeouts anyway. KJ made a play. I'm still like, yeah. Look, he did it. But nobody touched him on the play. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like he had a spin move or he slapped the hands down of the tackle and beat him. They didn't touch him, okay? But I'm not going to kill him for that. Make the plays that come to you, and he did that. Quan caught a great pick. That's an excellent pick. I don't think you guys really understand how tough of a deal that is for him to make that play. And Forbes, by far and away, his best game. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Keith, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, now I'm not about to stunt. I'm scared about next week, y'all. Seahawks weapons aren't anything. We just seen, and Geno ain't no slouch. NHL for life. You know what it is. I can't see us replicating what we did today next week. Again, you can't have the lack of pass rush that we had. The 64-yard run, their running back is way more dynamic than Ramondre Stevenson. So if you in the business of giving those up, you'll definitely give one up next week. They got a plethora of backs that can blaze you and bless you if you want to come out there with some lackluster sack. Don't slam him. Sack. Love it. And he's hurt. Get up, man. Get up, Hurts. I told you he banged up. He tried to lie to us all week long. That man ain't right. That man ain't right. That man ain't right. And he ain't been right. They'll get him right at halftime. He'll be back. But I'm going to tell you like this. If he can't come back or he back there limping, this Dallas defense is going to be on his ass. I've already said that. They can get pressure with 4. Unlike us, who didn't force him to run last week. He was banged up last week. We saw the shit. We just couldn't get pressure with 4. Dallas can get pressure with 4. And so he's in trouble because he can't run. And this stretch of football they got coming up, they can't afford for him to be banged up. Because Kansas City in 2 weeks, don't give a shit. San Francisco, don't give a shit. This is as tough as it gets, this stretch of ball. And if he ain't right, they in trouble. They are in trouble. And I think we in trouble next week. Now, he back in the huddle. He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. But I'm going to just tell you like this. That's it right there. Lawrence on his knee. Woo! Glad it won't nothing serious. Don't want to see nobody get hurt. He a tough dude, though. Just run it and go to half. That's what they about to do now. Run it and go to half. Run it and go to half. Get Jalen right and come back out and try to get it done in the second half. McCarthy, you clown. You should have challenged on the first possession. It shouldn't even be 17-14. It should be 17-7 right now. Bum. Spence Callis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, my mom used to smack me harder than that personal foul call. Bro, that was super trash. I can't begin to explain that. That's one of the worst ones I've ever seen. I've seen some bad ones. That one that's pretty high on the list of bad personal foul penalties that I've seen. Like, what is he supposed to do in that situation? He didn't lead with the helmet. He didn't fall body weight. None of that bullshit that they like to try to, like Kenny Albert was like, well, maybe it was the body weight. Nah, Kenny, it wasn't no goddamn body weight. F out of here with that bullshit. That was a clean ass sack. I don't know what else you want the young fella to do in that situation. Damn. Then when Chase Young goes up and two-hand pushes Matt Ryan and doesn't sack him on a fourth down and they get the first down, then we want to be pissed off about it. Because these dudes don't know what to do no more. How am I supposed to hit the quarterback? That's ridiculous. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, shout out to James Smith-Williams for the cramp that helped Sleepy Ron challenge. That shit's ridiculous. Like, it shouldn't have come to that. The Patriots were about to run up and snap that bitch if not for James Smith-Williams going down with the cramp. Like, you got to be effing kidding me, bro. That's ridiculous. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, besides a couple of bad throws, Sam has shown growth. I've been impressed, and the O-line has given him beautiful pockets. Were Sadiq and Gates that bad? I don't know if Sadiq was that bad as much as it was Gates. Gates wasn't good, right? But, I mean, clearly, what you've seen over the last 2 weeks is an indictment on those two in particular. And for Sadiq, his problem is he's a smaller guy. So when you have a smaller quarterback, shorter quarterback like Sam, you need to keep the integrity of the pocket intact. And Sadiq was giving up like bull rushes that were allowing that pocket to condense on him. Chris Paul is a big man. He's a big boy. So he's allowed to keep. He's been doing a great job of keeping that pocket clean for him where he can step up and deliver the football. And yes, Gates was that bad. Yeah, he was. He was that bad. Free Shabazz. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, yo, Lou, what it do? What it do, Shabazz? NHO, how many games do you think we will need to win to solidify his spot for next year?
New order.
I've all along said anywhere from 7 to 9 wins, and he should be fine. But you get to 8 or 9, and I think it's a cinch. Look, I've already said I've heard from people or a person, one in particular, inside the building, and then Diana Rossini, and I tweeted this out yesterday, said that she's heard from people inside the building that Harris and company really believe they found their quarterback. And Ron is, singing that song, and I think they agree with him. And the picks that they've accumulated, and I've said this already, it's not just the picks that they've accumulated to try to build around Sam. I think it's also a sign that, hey, we want to make sure we're saving up our bread. Sam, you would have to pay him after next season. Like, Sam doesn't have a fifth-year option. He wasn't a first-round pick. Sam, this is Sam's second year. If he's good again next year as your starter, you got to pay him after year 3, right? You don't want to go into that final season talking about franchise tag this and that. We've been down that road before. So you got to go ahead and get your ducks lined up in a row. And I think them not paying Tez or Young was a sign that they understand that they're going to have some money in their piggy bank for Sam Howell when it comes time to pay him. And you don't want to start shelling out a whole bunch of bread to dudes, and then you look up and now you got tough decisions to make because you overspent on one position. They've already invested on the defensive line with the 2 tackles. I got no issues with that. Let me see what the Giants and the Raiders talking about. I told you, anytime you got Max Crosby, Daniel Jones should have never been out there. Looked like he ain't nobody even touch him. I already told you the Raiders was going to wallop these boys. Anytime you get an interim coach, it's a wrap. That first game, 24 love. Woo! Anytime you get an interim coach, it's a different ball game that first week. Saw that one coming a mile away. What Carolina and Indy talking about? Boy, CJ Stroud looked good today. My goodness. Pick 6. Yikes. Yeah, Indianapolis going to beat them. Jeez. Boy, CJ looked good. Shucks. And I think that's who Frank Reich wanted to take too. Anyway, I digress. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Antonio Pierce for head coach 2024. LOL. He's funny. Barry Curtis Jr. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Barry Curtis Jr. writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, what's up, Lou? I feel like you're making a lot of excuses for our defensive tackles. You think people don't double Dexter? I want to see our stars make plays. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. If you want to call it an excuse, knock yourself out. It's hard to win off of double teams on the interior. Dexter Lawrence ain't posting big sack numbers this season. You know, if you want your defensive tackles to be able to have opportunities, you got to surround them with guys that, I mean, none of our guys are Aaron Donald, first and foremost. Second of all, it's not hard to get your guys one-on-one. Like, you don't want the excuse to exist that they're getting double teamed, then don't let them get double teamed. All you got to do is create one-on-one matchups for them. It's not hard to do that. They're just not playing well, or Jack's not scheming it up well, right? So it's as simple as that. If you can call them excuses if you want, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. The facts are what they are. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Jay Gruden perfectly described JDR as simple Jack. I got no problems with that. The Booty Creek Cheek Freak. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Giants versus Raiders, the battle of unknown QBs. Well, the Giants don't stand a chance. With no Tyrod and no Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito is ass cheeks. Fresh buns out of the oven. It's over. Meanwhile, the Raiders are starting the rookie Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue, and he's doing those boys. So that one looks like it's already over. And, you know, the Giants don't score. The Patriots don't score. They're the second worst scoring offense in the league. The Giants are the worst at 11.9 points a game. That looks like it might be lowered today, if that's even possible. Christopher McLaughlin. And if Tyrod is out and Daniel Jones is out, I already know Waller is going to be out for 4 weeks. They just put him on IR. If we get to them the next time and they're starting Tommy DeVito and we can't win, Ron needs to be fired that day. Don't even let him go up to the press conference. Fire him on the spot. He walks into the locker room. Hey, don't even address the team. All right, EB, you address the team. You go ahead and clean your shit out because we at home against them, the Giants, in 2 weeks. And at that point, I ain't trying to hear no excuses because Daniel Jones ain't gonna be back. You can see he didn't even get touched. He fell down without anybody touching him. He's done. Tyrod Taylor got rib injury. I don't know if he'll be back or not. But if it's Tommy DeVito and you can't beat up on the Giants, we got problems. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, hey, Lou, hope all is well with you and the fam. Likewise. Thank you so much. Glad we won. However, what are your thoughts on parts of the game Terry seems to be missing from the offense? Huge NFC tiebreaker game on Sunday, particular with Seattle's huge loss. They're still fighting for their division, so I'm not really too concerned with Seattle as a tiebreaker right now. They're a better team than us, you know. So I don't know if it'll come down to that, but you know, even if it does, you'd like to have that in your back pocket. We got it in our back pocket against Atlanta. You'd like to, you know, put that in our back pocket against the Seattle Seahawks if we could, but I'm not optimistic. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not even going to hold you on that one, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. Terry being missing for huge chunks of the game. Again, that's on play calling because just like they were able to get it to him late in the game, and they got it to Antonio Gibson on these screens. You could easily replace Antonio Gibson with Terry McLaurin and make him the guy catching the screen. Like, if you want to get it to him, you can. That's always been my thing. Is I don't want to hear about progressions and who you're like. You can call plays that specifically get the ball in Terry's hands. I think they threw him a screen today. I think they threw him a hitch today. Like, you can do more of that. They threw him a slant. Like, there was a two-play stretch, 2 plays in a row, where Terry, he had the big sideline catch, then he caught the slant and he ran. And that was the bulk of his yardage in today's game. You can do that more often with him. Like, you don't have to wait until the third quarter for that to show up for Terry to get involved, right? You can do that in the first quarter, like they did last week against Philadelphia. I would prefer them to do that earlier in the game, but I'm not going to sit here and complain. Terry was one of the leaders on the team in targets today. He had the most catches on the team today. He had the most yards on the team today. I'm not going to complain. I still looking for my man Terry to have a 100-yard game. Is that too much to ask? Because he hasn't had a 100-yard game yet. We had our first 100-yard receiver last week with Jahan Dotson, okay? We shouldn't be 10 games in and we got 100-yard receiver on the season. That shouldn't be the case. When you got Sam Howell out here slinging that thing. It doesn't make sense to me, but he is spreading the wealth around. I will say that. He is spreading the rock around, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? Terry and Zeta Man says Terry ain't the best at screens. He's not. You're not wrong. Because he's not shifty, right? But that don't mean if you don't get blockers in front of him that he can't take one and haul ass with it. Because as we saw when he caught that slant, he almost murked on him. He almost split the difference and took off on them boys. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Writes, Lou, serious question. Players get fined all the time. Do you think there should be consequences for refs clearly making bad calls, fines, etc.? They've told us in the past that these officials get fined. That they are fined for making poor calls, and they get evaluated every week. And another punishment for these referees that make bad calls is that they don't get postseason work, and that's where the real money kicks in. Is where you're doing postseason games. Like, that's an honor that's bestowed upon you. It's from a season long of doing your job at the highest levels. Those are the guys that get rewarded with postseason work, and they mix together the groups. It's not like they take whole crews and make them, postseason teams. They take the best of the best. And so you get evaluated every week. You get a grade, and the best grades are the guys that get the postseason work. And the guy, Adrian Hill, who called our game, is definitely not a guy that should be getting postseason work. But that said, I think there is supposed to be sanctions that are levied down on these officials. I don't think there are. I think they just tell us that to appease us. I don't think they're docking these guys' pay. But there should be some consequences other than not getting into the postseason as a referee, because that was a ridiculous call. And like I said, those calls change outcomes of games potentially. Bro, I need to wipe, but I ain't got no TP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? With all the first-round picks we have on the D-line, they don't disrupt games like other teams with maybe just one first-round pick. Does that boil down to coaching or just lack of talent? Maybe we overestimate our D-line. What is it? It's a little combination of all of it. So Daron Payne doing what he did last year, I don't think was just a byproduct of, he was in his contract year. I think he was getting a lot of one-on-one looks. He wasn't scaring anybody going into last season. Nobody was worried about scheming to stop Daron Payne until last year. He put up big numbers. He put the league on notice. He made the Pro Bowl, and now teams go into the game saying, hey, if you don't have anybody to block center, last year it was, if you don't got nobody to block, go block 93. He's the guy that can change the game over there. And so Daron was getting a lot of one-on-ones, and he was eating it up. Now this year they're saying, hey, go block 94, right? So Hurts don't look right. That's a real ginger jog right there. But he's going to play because that's what he is. He's a gamer. They're telling their center, hey, you go over there and help on 94. And Allen, I think he's banged up. He won't admit it. He's not going to say anything, but I don't think he's right. Remember, that plantar fasciitis don't just go away. That's some shit that don't go away till after the season with time. He's playing on a banged up foot, among other injuries that probably exist. And like somebody said earlier, maybe I'm making excuses for him. That's fine. But we've seen Jonathan Allen play better than what he's playing right now. And with no edge rushers in sight, I would take 94 and 93 out of every ball game from here on out. Somebody else is going to have to beat me. And I don't think there's another soul on this defense that's capable. But that's where Jack comes in. That's where you need to get aggressive. That's where you help your guys get one-on-one. It's not hard. Shift the line over and then force them. Like, all you got to do is put the Cinco package out there and rush all 5 guys. Now you got one-on-one, right? It's not rocket science. Or you can slide the line over, right, and have 3 guys on one side and you know, 1 guy on the other side, and then you can blitz on that side if you want to add another rusher in, or you could not. And either way, you're still going to come away with one-on-one matchups on that one side where you shift 3 of your guys off to one side of the center. So that's what the Rams do with Aaron Donald, right? But we're not going to see that because that's not what Jack does, right? So I expect it to look the way that it's looked and to continue to be what it's been. And if these guys don't have Herculean efforts and find a way to get into the backfield, it's going to be what it's going to be. Because Jack can't scheme it up, and Jack's not going to call in these blitzes that are just going to automatically hit home or all of a sudden get creative. I watched the Chiefs today and Steve Spagnuolo and some of the blitzes, and I'm like, man, what I wouldn't give for a coordinator that could give me half of what he just gave. Like, the Chiefs are good on defense because of Spags. Barry Curtis Jr., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, it feels like we solved a large part of our O-line issues. Do you think our guys are playing better together or just winning one-on-ones? I think our offensive line isn't as bad. I've been telling y'all this since preseason. Our offensive line is not as bad as you guys make it out to be. Wiley is still a liability. I still think you need a tackle or 2. Leno has never been a liability. He's always been a guy that when you look at Leno, he's going to get beat every so often. And usually it happens at the worst times. But he's not a guy that consistently gets beat. You can do a hell of a lot worse than Leno. I've said that for years now. But I'm still looking to upgrade both tackle positions. But interior-wise, I think we might be fine. Again, Ricky Stromberg would make me feel even better because Larson is an older guy. I think Larson's probably in his 30s. If he's not in his 30s, he's 30, you know, on the nose, which isn't old for an offensive lineman. But, you know, I want him around, right? If nothing else, he's proven that he can play at this level, and we know what he's capable of. So if nothing else, if you just roll with Tyler Larson and you continue to get what you've gotten out of Chris Paul, and you know what Cosme is, you could have something on this offensive line. And then you just upgrade the tackle positions. But, you know, again, we will see. So I think individually, guys are getting the job done, but collectively as a unit, if you're talking about offensive line, let me make sure I read this. I think they're playing better. I think they're playing because when they would run, like the Giants game is a great example. When they ran Hurts on the keeper, that's a good sign that he was able to do that because the threat of that still needs to exist in order for them to have success offensively. The threat of him keeping the ball has to still exist. He still has to be able to threaten the defense with his ability to run in order for that offense to be successful. So that's a good keep there by him, even if they don't do it too many more times today. Just the threat of that still being there is huge, right? The Giants game in particular was a problem because we were getting beat on twists and stunts, and they were simple twists. We'd have 6 guys in to protect, and they're running a 4-man, stunt, and guys are looping around coming free, and you're like, wait a minute, what is going on right now? So I think they're just communicating better. Larson is great at that. You got bigger guys inside that are providing a better pocket for Sam. There's not this collapse in the pocket where Sam feels a little bit antsy and has to get out of there, and he's running into sacks. So I think there's and then I think there's been better play calling too. Screens, we saw a lot of screens today, a lot of quick game, a lot of it getting out of Sam's hands quickly. So I think there's a lot of different things that you can kind of look at and things that speak to why we're being better on the offensive line. But I think it really starts with those guys up front. I really do. Starts with them just being better, right? Eagles on the move. Hurts pressured. He's going to have to throw this away. Oh, he had an open receiver in Swift. And they on the move. They already in field goal range. Now the question becomes, can they get in the end zone? We'll see. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. That was the last super chat. I'm gonna get out of here, let you guys watch the rest of this game. This has been an excellent game thus far, and I'm gonna watch the rest of this thing and see what happens. And then we got a barn burner tonight, Sunday Night Football, Bills at Bengals. So either way, we coming away with some great football, man. So I'm gonna watch the rest of this, as I'm pretty sure all of you are, and then we'll come back and reconvene later on tonight. Probably talk a little bit about this game, and obviously talk about the Sunday nighter as well. Hurts up top, down the sideline. What a throw! Even better catch. Wow. That's why Jalen Hurts is one of the best quarterbacks in football. Yikes. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Command Post Game Show live. Commanders get the win, 20-17 over the New England Patriots. Improved to 4-5 on the season. Patriots dropped to 2-7, and the Patriots showcased why they're a 2-7 football team. They showed why. And we showed why we were 3-5 coming into the game. We made mistakes and made this thing a lot more complicated than it needed to be. But again, they're 2-7 for a reason, because they're worse than we are. And we were able to prevail and get the win. And now see if we can't take that and poly it into confidence heading on the road next week to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If I see you later on tonight, awesome. Can't wait. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow for Commanders Nightly News. You guys have a good one. God bless.
New Howell order. New